Hi guys, James at RampantLionReviews again for you today with another beer review. For this one we are going to head down to Huddersfield in Yorkshire in England for another visit to Magic Rock Brewing. This is a brewery that, as I told you before, all the English beer tubers seem to rave about. Harry at Blue Nose, Dean's Beer Reviews, Kent Beer Reviews, these guys all really quite enjoy these beers. But we've got something a little bit different from them today. In comparison to the Highwire Grapefruit you saw me review before, this is in a different can. And it's one of these big half-litre cans that they've just released. This one's the Hypnotist IPA, and it comes in at 6.8%, rated 90 overall on Rate Beer and 93 within the style, so it should be a pretty damn awesome beer. Definitely looking forward to reviewing this one, and the Highwire Grapefruit that I tried from these guys before was pretty damn good actually. So make sure you check out that beer, make sure you try this one if you get the chance, and do make sure you check out the English beer tubers as well. Craig, Harry and Dean are all really nice guys. There's Rob at Hopscene as well, Chris at Hammerhead Beer Reviews, and Gareth Ravey as well. There's quite a lot of guys down in England reviewing beer, so do make sure you check them out, and they'll be able to keep you a bit more up to date on the English beer scene than I can, obviously, because I spend most of my time in Sweden. But anyway, as is usual with my beer reviews then, I'll tell you a little bit about the brewery. If you want to get straight to the tasting, just fast forward. All the usual links are in the description below. That's the brewery website, the link to my other reviews I've done from Magic Rock before. There will be more in the near future, of course. There's all the usual social media. If you want to see more beer reviews, do subscribe to the channel. The whole channel, of course, has a geography-based tagging system, so you can go into the homepage and search for beer based on country, city or state, whatever it is you're interested in. Do check out the playlists of the beers from different countries. Of course, there is a playlist for the English beers that you can check out, and as always, please do get in touch and let me know some of the other beers and breweries you guys would like to see me review. Always interesting to hear from you guys, and your support of the channel is hugely appreciated. So anyway, to tell you a little bit about Magic Rock then. So Magic Rock Brewing, as I said to you, are based in Huddersfield in Yorkshire in England, and they were established in 2010 by brothers Richard and Johnny Burhouse, although Johnny left later that year, but they were soon joined by head brewer Stuart Ross. So the beer brewing began in mid-2011, and the beers proved so popular that the brewery actually won the accolade of Best New Brewery of 2012 from Rate Beer, one of the websites I often talk about, of course, and a good kind of barometer of how good the beer you're drinking actually is. But the brewery was largely inspired by the burgeoning craft beer scene over in America. You know, as we all know, America, or the west coast of America, is the home of craft beer, but they really had to expand their capacity quite quickly, and they've been steadily kind of adding more staff and more capacity as the years have gone on, and quite rightly, these guys are a very highly rated brewery. But as of 2015, the brewery are based in the Willow Business Park in Birkby, and they now employ over 30 people, and the new site has a brewing capacity of 10,000 hectolitres per year, and they also have a fermentation capacity of 70,000 litres as well. So you've got a lot of interesting things coming out from Magic Rock. They've got a few different ranges of beers. Do check out the website for yourself in the description below, and you can see all of these different things. But they're producing some great stuff. As I said, all my English friends seem to really rave about their beers, so make sure you check out their channels and you can see some more of that for yourself. So yeah, this should be a really nice beer. So I'll just tell you the specs of this one before we open up. So this one is a 6.8% IPA. It's hot with Amarillo, Citro, Mosaic and Simcoe, and it's got a malt base of acidulated Crystal T50 and Golden Promise malts with some oats and rye added to the brew. And this one uses a US double IPA yeast strain as well, so it should be very, very nice. I'll just bring up the camera and let you have a little look at the artwork of this one if I can find my cursor. Here we are. As you can see, this is a kind of new, quite distinctive style of artwork from Magic Rock. As I said, the little cans have all these kind of mad face things on them, which are pretty cool actually. It does make them quite distinctive. There you can see, of course, on the back, that is the Magic Rock Brewing symbol there, but it looks very, very nice, very nicely presented beer, this one. I do like these new half-litre cans that they seem to be producing, so without further ado then, we will get this guy open and get on with the tasting. So, yeah. Yeah, nice smoky opening there on the can, as you can see, and we'll get it out and into the glass. From what I gather, this one is supposed to be one of the kind of East Coast American style IPAs. It's a style that really is kind of taken hold recently, and there's some really nice stuff. People are going on about Treehouse Brewery, Trillium and all of these sort of things over in America, but and of course in Sweden we do have some of the Stigbergets beers as well that have been really nice and brewed in this kind of northeast US style. So quite cool to try an English take on one of these beers actually. So as you can see, this beer's poured a really nice kind of bright goldeny amber hazy colour. It's actually a little bit clearer than some of the other New England style IPAs that I've come across, but it should be a really, really nice beer. It's got that deep kind of bright kind of almost a blood orange colour actually, this one. It looks very, very nice. There's a solid half finger of a frothy white head on this one, some big bubbles sticking towards the side of the glass, and quite a few little ones just going up towards the bottom of that head there. It looks absolutely lovely. If I stick my fingers behind the glass, you can see there's a little bit of transparency to the beer, but it is quite opaque actually. So yeah, it looks very, very nice. Let's check out the aroma a little bit more closely then. That's really nice. You know, I'm getting quite a bit of orange from this one. And of course, when you've got Mosaic in there and Amarillo, that is one of the notes that really is kind of going to jump out at you. I always find the Mosaic, it gives you a nice little bit of earthy floral character, of course, but then you've got these kind of dark, almost tangerine oranges. So there's a big orangey citrus in this one, but you can also pick out a little bit of the passion fruit. There is a good bit of passion fruit coming out of this one for me, and that's from the Simcoe. That's really its kind of signature aroma, if you like. I think there's a wee bit of peach in there too, which may well be coming from the Citra. The Citra, of course, is known for giving you these sort of lighter tropical fruit notes, of course. So it's really a kind of mix between oranges. I think the oranges are kind of underpinning it, but then on the sharper end of the nose, it's the passion fruit that's coming out, and then there's a little bit of peachy character underneath it. It really is quite a big fruity beer, this one, of course. That's what you expect from these kind of northeast US high PA ones. So it does smell nice. You can pick up a little bit of the floral character in this beer when you sugar it up a little bit more. Maybe a little bit of lighter grassy character. The malt base on this one does smell kind of quite simple on this. It's basically a little bit of biscuit and some grainy character, but a sort of white bready thing going on and just underpinning the beer. But like I say, it really does lean more towards these nice fruity characters. A bit of sort of tangerine and kind of lighter juicy orange. That's the Mosaic, and the Amarillo coming out, of course. And you've got the nice passion fruit notes from the Simcoe and the lighter sort of peachy tropical notes from the Citra in there as well. So it smells like a really, really nice beer. As I always say, just take a little bit of time and enjoy the aroma of the beers before you drink them. But this one, it should be really nice. As I said, the High Wire Grapefruit in the last review, that was a really good beer. So definitely looking forward to this one, which should be a little bit different. So this one is the Hypnotist IPA from Magic Rock Brewing down in Huddersfield in Yorkshire in England, Slangia. Yeah, that's pretty good actually. I'm surprised as well. The first thing that struck me about that beer there was just the kind of light mouthfeel that it has. It's actually quite a wet mouthfeel that's coming out of this one, but it's got a big oily hoppy character to it. So as I always say, just sugar the beer around your palate and let your whole mouth adjust to it before you start to analyse the flavour too much. But that's lovely. That really is quite nice. It's got that the wet mouthfeel on this one does make it quite a bit more drinkable actually. You can feel the little bit of acidy character coming out of this one. That's what gives it the kind of lighter mouthfeel that it has. You can feel it's almost a little bit like a kind of bretty thing. You can feel that little bit of acidity in the malt base of this one. Once the beer starts to move into the aftertaste, that's when you're getting the sort of the kind of more noticeable aspects of the malt base there. So it starts off, the middle of your palate is kind of blanketed with this sort of white bready character. There is a little bit of a kind of grainy dryness in there too as you move into the aftertaste, but it starts off with those juicy fruits. You have that sort of, you've got this little kind of acidic character coming out of this beer as well. It's not quite as sharp as Brett or Brettanomyces, but it does have just that little bit of acidity, and it's quite interesting. I've never come across an IPA that is meant to be a straight up IPA that has the acid part of the beer coming from the malt base. That's really quite an interesting quirk to this beer. That really is quite nice. And as I say, once your mouth adjusts to it, it does start to blend in a little bit more, but as your palate is still adjusting to the beer, that little kind of sharpness from the acidulated malts in this beer, it is quite noticeable. So just pay attention to that. That is quite a quirky and unusual note, and I'm saying that with my experience of 900 beers behind me of this one. So do pay attention to that little part of the beer. But the hoppy side of things is quite interesting too. So in the very back corners, I'm picking up just a little bit of earthiness. For me, that's probably coming from the Mosaic hop. It does have this kind of little bit of earthiness that you can pick up in the back corners of the palate. As you move further forward, there's a nice kind of dark floral aromaticity to this beer. It's got a good bit of a kind of spicy character in there as well. It's quite nice. Again, I always find that the Mosaic gives you that sort of spicy floral aromaticity, but the other beers, the Amarillo, the Citron things, they do have their own little bit of floral aromatic character too. I can still feel that little bit of the acidulated malt in this one. It's really nice, this beer. As you go round the front curve of the palate, there's a little bit of kind of grassy character there around the front curve of the palate there. It's just a little bit lighter than the sort of more dark floral notes that you're getting around the edges of the tongue. But the fruity notes in this beer are obviously what is quite nice about this one. These northeast US IPAs are known for being juice bombs essentially, and this one does pick up on that. So yeah, with this one, I'd say it's got the sort of dark orangey kind of tangerine notes just underpinning it. As I always say, these fruity oils from the hops, for me, they come out just behind the front curve of my tongue, so you get this little oily bubble, and in there I'm thinking that there's orange and tangerines just kind of underpinning this beer. On top of that, there's a little bit of a kind of tropical character coming out. There's a bit of the passion fruit in there, but I'm getting a little bit of an almost peachy flavour coming out of this beer too. It's really quite nice. And those kind of acidulated malts in the beer, they just give it a little bit of an extra end. There is a little bit of a kind of lemony sort of tart thing to this beer as well, which is quite interesting. As I said, it's unusual for the kind of tart flavours to come from the malts in the beer. Quite an interesting approach that, but this is a really quite nice beer. It's really quite well done, and as I say, it is quite quirky in comparison to some of the other things that I've come across before. So if you get the chance to try this one, I do recommend that you do. It is the rating that it has on Rate Beer, the 90 for me, is about right on this one. The sort of acidulated thing, that will be, I guess, for some people a bit of a hit or a miss, but I really do quite like it. You know, with this one, you're maybe expecting a sort of straight up IPA, so that can maybe catch you out a little bit with this beer. I can see why it's maybe at 90 rather than 95, of course. But for me, I like it. I probably would give this one a higher rating if I did a rating system when it comes to beers. I just like describing the flavours, of course. But this one is certainly really nice. It's a little bit like a Northeast England IPA with just a little bit of the kind of bready character that you expect from some of these kind of sour beer breweries, actually. But a really nice beer. In terms of the mouthfeel of this one, I'd say this one is mid-bodied, but it is on the lighter side of that. As I said, the kind of acidulated character that it has, you can pick up that this beer, it just feels a little bit lighter. It's got more of a wet mouthfeel to it than an oily mouthfeel, although later on it does get just that little bit thicker. So there's a good hoppy bitterness from this one, like I said. In the aftertaste, it's really the sort of dark floral aromaticity, the kind of sort of dank character, I guess, a little bit. And you've got some of that floral spicy character in there, a bit of the earthiness too. That's what's lingering into the aftertaste of this one for me. And there's the fruitiness there. It's the kind of dark sort of tangerine character that's lingering there for me as well. And the malt base, of course, is quite simple. You can feel a little bit of that tartness from the acidulated malt in this beer coming out too. But overall, it is a really quite nice beer, this one. So if you get the chance to try it, I highly recommend that you do. For people, I would guess the best people to try this beer are ones that probably enjoy a little bit of these kind of acidic IPAs, you know, the ones that have the Britannomyces and things added to them. This one would kind of suit you guys down to a T. But once again, another really nice beer from Magic Rock, and I can see why the English beer tubers really rave about this brewery. So if you get the chance to try the Hypnotist, I highly recommend that you do. This is actually quite a drinkable IPA. You'd probably never guess that it was 6.8% because it does have quite a light and wet mouthfeel to it. But yeah, so as always, I hope you guys have enjoyed my beer reviews. Thank you for watching. Until the next time, please like, subscribe, share, all the usual YouTube stuff. Do make sure you check out my social media. Let me know your own thoughts on this beer in the comment section below. Always interesting to hear from you guys. And do make sure you go and give your patronage to some of the other beer tubers out there, especially the guys watching in England. If English craft beer is your thing, make sure you check out Dean Harry, Craig and Rob and all the other guys down there that are doing beer reviews. So this one was the Hypnotist IPA from Magic Rock Brewing in Huddersfield in England. Until the next time, Slangy just now, do keep an eye out for a review on the Waniac, which is coming up very soon. Cheers.